everyone, Rose Wildsmith here. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful patterned paper which you can use for collage or other paper craft projects. You'll also be left with some painted mesh which you can use in your textile or mixed media work. The secret element to this technique is this. You can buy it from the hardware store or from Amazon, and I'll have a link to that in the description. It's called joint tape. And it's made with a synthetic fibre, I think it's probably polyester, and it has a light adhesive on the back. So this is the first one that I did, and this is a page out of my sketchbook, and I was really pleased with it. And then the other day I thought, oh, I could try using this to make collage paper. And so I'll show you some of my results. This is done with fluid media. The colours have run together and you get a really interesting result here where the paint has gone underneath the mesh. And this is another one that I did with the fluid media. You can see where the paper has buckled actually and where the paint has gone underneath the mesh, but it actually adds to the effect, I think, so I really like this result. Then I think this one I was trying to do more of a dry brushing technique. Definitely this one as well. And you can see that there's more of the white spaces are showing. By the way, I just want to let you know that I've got a new course available. It's called Hack Your Sketchbook with Page Alterations, and it's available on my website. If you look in the description box, I have a discount code for you, and I'm really proud of this course. It's a really fun way of changing your sketchbook, making it really your own by adding in your own papers, moving the pages around, that kind of thing. So I hope you'll check it out. I found this paper to work really well. It's thick enough not to wrinkle or warp too much with the wet paint, but it's thin enough that you can still easily use it for collage. Depending on what you want to use it for, you could also use other kinds of paper. I've also used some of this bleed-proof marker paper, and it's very thin, but it does wrinkle quite a bit more. If you want to use thinner kinds of paper, you can tape it down to your surface using masking tape, and that will reduce the buckling a little bit. Okay, so you'll also need some paint, and for this I've used acrylic paint. I've experimented using the fluid kinds of paints and also the heavier body paints like this one. And you will also need a paintbrush or something to apply the paint with, and I really like these flat-headed brushes, and I'll have a link to these particular ones in the description because I really like them. So I'm going to do a little demo now so you can see how exactly I did it. So the way to do it is very simple. I just cut some of the tape. I found that it worked quite well if you have 3 strips, but you can get different sizes of the joint tape, so I guess it depends on how wide your tape is. And then I just cut it like that. It's not going to line up to make a perfect join here, but the imperfections are fine. That's kind of part of the beauty of it. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate here with the fluid acrylics, and what I recommend is to pick colours that are in analogous colour schemes, so colours that are similar on the colour wheel. For example, here I've got different kinds of blues, and that means that they'll all blend together nicely. So I do wet my brush, and that is to protect the brush mostly, but I think having a bit of extra water on your brush does help with the fluid version of this. So I'm going to put a few paints out on my palette. And then you just brush it on. I think it's quite nice if you blend the colours together. Making it a little bit more watery. I really love this manganese blue colour, it's gorgeous. And I think this teal colour is my favourite. And it's as simple as that really. Let's peel off the mesh and see what it looks like. Now you can see here that's where it was more fluid, and I really like the effect. And you can see the mesh is also a beautiful colour when you put it up on against the white. So that was a more fluid one, but it actually turned out to be quite defined in some areas. I have tried reusing the mesh. It does seem to work if you want to use it again for a second go straight away, but I think if you wait too long then the adhesive can get a lot weaker and then it doesn't work quite so well. But let's do another one with a bit more of the fluid effect. So this time I'm going to go for more of a purple sort of scheme. So I've got some violets and magentas here. So the trick is getting the balance between the paper buckling, so you don't want it to be too sopping wet, but making sure that the paint is wet enough that you get this nice effect. So it's a bit of a balancing act, but let's give it a go. Alright, so let's take the mesh off and see what it looks like. Oh, I'm really pleased with this because it's done exactly what I wanted it to do, and it's worked quite well all over. This area here is maybe a little bit homogeneous because I like it when the patterns change, but I'm really pleased with this. Now I'm going to show you how to do it with a dry brushing technique with the sort of thicker paints. So for this one I'm doing an analogous colour scheme in the green sort of realm, so I'm going to put some of these out. These are a bit more of a heavy body, and so we can use the dry brushing technique with them. So I'm actually going to use a different brush for this time. I'm going to use this one, which is very old and scruffy, but I absolutely love it. So like I said, for this you don't need to dip your brush in the water, you need it to be quite dry, and use these thicker paints. Okay, so here we go. Now we can peel off the tape. And you may not be able to see this on the camera, but there's actually a bit more physical texture to the page on this one because the bumps are a little bit thicker. I was hoping that I'd have a bit more white space in between all the squares, but I think that I maybe scrubbed a little bit too hard and the paint still went under the mesh. But I still like this result. I think I prefer the more fluid result, but I'm still really happy with this. So This is going to be great to use in my collage work, in my mixed media work, so I'm really happy with this. So the humble joint tape, let me know what you think. Alright, that's it from me for this time. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!